Welcome back to a brand new edition of the Angle Podcast. I'm your host, Joey Carney, and with me today is someone who's not only boots to boots, but he's boots to ass, bringing mayhem for all in TNA. I'm with TNA superstar Steve Maclin. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm glad to be chatting with you again, all things TNA. But before we even dive into TNA, when you type in Steve Maclin anywhere online, the first thing that comes up is you on Subway Mania. So I have to ask how that whole experience was, because to me, it's one of the hottest things in wrestling content right now.
Dude, when I tell you that was something so wild to be a part of and never expect, because I was asking them, like, how do you guys not get like in trouble with the cops? They're like, oh, at first they kind of were saying stuff, and then they realize it's all for fun and games, and it's just something just so cool and so cool part to be a part of wrestling. And that was me as a kid in my backyard doing stupid things like that. So like here it is on the back of a subway train in the middle of the day while people are commuting back home from work. And like it was fun to see people running from the car that didn't want to be involved in it and see what was about to go down for the chaos. But for the ones that were there that just showed up and the fan base that is a part of Subway Mania was really cool to be a part of. And yeah, it's wild, man. It's a great experience if you ever get to be a part of it.
You know, when you think about like wrestling content in modern day today, that's not what comes to mind, and I think that's what
Oh,
makes it so cool. Like, how is this even possible? How is it legal? But it's like the hottest thing going today. So cool to see you be a part of that, but also TNA. Every time that they do it, looking to be a part of that as well.
yeah, TNA wrestling is just it's all over the place. Ever since that rebrand and from when we were in Impact, that bubble finally burst on that rebrand and the world's getting to know it. And with this working relationship with WWE has helped in tremendously. Obviously, it's getting more eyes on our product, but it's able to introduce new characters to the world instead of seeing the same people all the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're getting to see these new familiar faces, these new stories that you didn't hear about that is in the TNA roster from both the men's and the women's division, and it's just, yeah, it's been awesome.
And I think what's the coolest part about that is like what you said. You're seeing these characters more. You're starting to learn who they are and not just know them from the internet. You know what I mean? And I feel like this is building towards a TV deal with TNA, and I think that's something that everybody wants. Not only the like you guys on the roster, but I think everybody wants that as well because it's been quite some time, and I think that's just something that's been brewing, and people are just like, if not now, when?
Yeah, and everybody's able to watch us now, obviously, on the TNA Plus app. You can watch every Thursday live on that. All the pay-per-views with subscriptions is on that. Bound for Glory coming up October 12th in Lowell, Mass. And then it's just we're on Sportsnet in Canada. I know we're on that 24/7 all the time, pretty much. And then when Eurosport overseas with DAZ or the Zone, is it
The zone.
DAZN?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Zone. I forget how you pronounce it properly or whatever it is. All these different acronyms, but like there's different places to watch this, and then also obviously on Access TV as well. But obviously, I tell everybody when we have a conversation, TNA Plus app. It's like being back in WWE again when the app came out originally. It's like TNA
Yep.
Plus app, TNA Plus app, TNA Plus app is the best way to watch us, and then also watch past content.
Yep.
Just because, again, you're seeing that bubble burst of TNA wrestling, and you're getting to know these new characters. And it was the same for me when I was a teenager when WCW was gone. Like, what else was out there? No ECW anymore, and it was just WWE. But then randomly on Spike TV, you turned on a TNA wrestling, and you're like, what the hell is this? And you had the AJ Styles, the Samoa Joes,
Yep.
the Frankie Kazarian, Kurt Angle when he debuted there, the Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy going there at those times, Team 3D, and then you had Aces and Eights later on, and you had so many different characters and storylines that came out of another company that just evolved people's careers and also started careers.
Yeah. I want to touch quickly on Tunnel to Towers because I saw the clip that was posted this morning by the Boots to Boots podcast Instagram, and it was basically you and Deanna talking about what it means to you and why you're involved in it. And I think that it's such a huge thing to see that because it gives a different perspective of wrestling and of pro wrestlers to the average person who may not know wrestling. I think it's especially with acknowledging your marine background. What does it mean to be able to proudly say like I am a professional wrestler and this is what we do, and people are like that is so damn cool.
It's taking advantage of the platform and the job that we have and the voice that we have. And when you become successful in it, and I've been doing this for 14 years, and so is my wife, we got to a point where like we want to try to now give back as much as we can because you build that base and that equity with the fan base, and then people finally are kind of behind you. But then once you start to get into that charity work, which we're trying to give back to veterans,
Yep.
was our ultimate goal. And once we got linked up with Tunnel to Towers, and it's such a great organization that Frank Siller started for his brother Steven. And the amount that they do for veteran community, first responders, NYPD, FDNY, and with paying off mortgages for families that have lost a loved one that is
Yeah.
a first responder or NYPD or FDNY. And then also taking care of the veteran community with building smart homes for those that have been disabled coming home and helping those transition into that world and taking care of the homeless, refurbishing hotels now and building housing for veterans that have been homeless and getting them into a home and getting that rehabilitation. It's just such a great organization to be a part of. We're happy to do the tower climb, the Freedom Tower back in June, and we just did the 5K this past Sunday. And when I tell you it was something emotional coming out of the tunnel, like that first mile and a half, it's hot, humid. You're trying to get your pace. You're seeing all these firefighters in their gear running, and it's motivating you. And you see kids running, and then
Yep.
you come out of this tunnel. And when I tell you, it was one of the most emotional experiences for me. Like I teared up a little bit too. And it takes a lot to make me cry and get a little that way. But it really instilled in me what I fought for as when I enlisted,
Yeah.
and reminded me what this all is worth. Because you come into that tunnel, and if you ever do this 5K, you have NYPD and FDNY all wearing banners and carrying flags of those that they've lost in 9/11 and post 9/11,
Yeah.
dealing with everything. And then you have the Air Force, Army, the Navy, the Marine Corps, cadets from West Point, all there supporting you for the next mile and a half. Everybody waving an American flag, cheering you on. And man, it's just something else. And it's for me, it meant so much to be a
Yeah,
part of that.
I live here in Jersey, so I hear about it like it was everywhere. Like it's talked about everywhere.
So when I was talking to Frank and then a few of the other board members that are there, and it's just awesome to know that when they started, it was 3,000 runners the first time,
Wow.
and this past year, this past Sunday was over 40,000 people ran, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's competing with the New York City Marathon, which is awesome to hear because that just means it's the word of mouth and it's getting it out there. It's the sponsorships and the people that get involved. Barstool Sports was a big thing that was a part of it this year with with Dave Portnoy.
Yeah.
Being a part of it. It was really cool to meet him too, by the way. And then we are also talking about Yankees Sox, whether there's going to be wild card or later. That was another thing to get into. So it's kind of cool to be up in Boston right now for that time, that feel that temperature up here. But it was so cool, man. It's such a great organization to be a part of that my wife and I get to help out and try to spread the word for.
You know, when you look at the TNA roster, there are wrestlers who have come from everywhere, and you specifically came from WWE NXT, and now have, in my opinion, have evolved into a pillar of TNA. Do you ever take a step back and look at how far you've come in this entire journey?
All the time. I really appreciate my journey and the education that I got in my time in WWE. But I know, and Josh Alexander said it to me not too long before he left, but he's like, "You're a homegrown talent here. You don't realize that, but you are." He's
Yeah,
like, "There's people that have come here and refurbished their career." He's like, "You grew into who you are here." Because I never got to be who I truly was in WWE at the time.
yeah,
It just didn't work out. And I'm thankful that it did that because it got me to where I am now.
yeah.
And it taught me so many lessons on the television side of things, so many working relationships, mentors that I met, and then coming to TNA with that experience and that level, and now being able to implement it and use those tools and to show the world who Steve Maclin is has been nothing but it's a blessing. And I'm so appreciative of the opportunities they give me and they still give me. I'm here doing media with you. I'm up here in Boston, flying around the country doing and plugging everything for Bound for Glory. So it's a lot of fun for me to do. And it's also fun for me to go into Bound for Glory and trying to get back my international championship against Frank.
You know, returning to TNA, returning to NXT as part of TNA, defending it from NXT. How did it feel to be back there and to be defending that something essentially you've helped build?
Yeah, it was kind of a cool and weird moment at the same time. A lot of friends that I've worked with are now coaches and producers there. Seeing familiar faces behind the scenes in the trainer's room, just even in the production side of things too. I just have people I haven't seen in a long time. Because once you're out of that bubble, you're out of that bubble.
Exactly.
And you'll see everybody down the road every now and then on the airports and stuff, but everybody's just dealing with that grind, so you don't really catch up as much. But when you do, it's just that's the best part of wrestling is that camaraderie in that locker room from across the board. Because I've never been a part of a bad locker room, and that's one of the best things that I can say is it's just from top to bottom is the respect you earn and you try to earn, and also the respect you have for others, and just to go back there and share those moments and talk about them. And my old tag partner Blake was there, and it was cool to just stand by and hang out for the day, and then afterwards grab a couple beers like we used to after
Yeah.
TV, and it was just it was a good moment.
The invasion aspect of it all had, I'm assuming, had to feel good, right? Like former WWE stars like Matt Cardona, the Inspiration, Cedric Alexander, Steph Delander, EY, you as well. Is there any feelings of like, man, this is sort of nice to like stick it to the man, kind of like going back to where you came from and showing how far you've all come, evolving?
Of course it is. And for me, I know my story. I feel like I have a much bigger story than this invasion showdown angle that you want to call it, especially with October 7th. Not saying I won't be there or involved in any way. I can't confirm or deny that. Do I want to be involved? No, but also this, you don't know, this relationship's going to continue on, obviously. So the war's just begun. This is just one of those small battles of showdown. So it's when are we going to get to that ultimate part of the war, or the ultimate ending of whatever this story or angle is going to be?
Yeah.
And you don't want to send all your troops in at once, if that makes sense.
And that kind of was leading to my next question. We saw Frankie Kazarian. He took your TNA International Championship, and now he's a part of TNA at Showdown. And you've been vocal wanting to be on that team. And after TNA, after NXT, Santana didn't make you one of his choices. What's the mindset now going into that, knowing that you don't have that title anymore and you're not on that team? Two things that you were ready and able to go in for.
Getting back that title is number one, and that's at Bound for Glory against Frankie Kazarian. I've already put in my rematch clause towards Santino. It hasn't been announced, but I'll announce it for you that that's the match at Bound for Glory between myself and Frankie Kazarian, the self-proclaimed king of TNA versus Bulletproof Steve Maclin for the TNA International Championship.
I absolutely love that, and I think that's the right way to go.
Then once I do get that back, I'm going down to AAA and I'm kicking the crap out of El Macias.
Oh, see that I like
So
that too.
I promise you that's going to happen too. I'm getting my revenge. Don't worry. I'm crossing that border. I'm doing what I have to do.
I said earlier that I look at you as one of the pillars. I know a lot of other fans do as well. They look at you as one of the pillars of current TNA. If you were the captain of Team TNA, who would you choose to be your team going into this NXT showdown?
One, Mike Santana, just because of the history we have and we work well together. I would say an EY. That'd be another one who's another name up there. And then, oof, Eddie Edwards be another one. He's the heart and soul. He's been doing this long enough, and I know the love that he has for TNA. What's that one? There's one more. Does it have to be a team of four or team of five? What do you want here? Or just whatever my team would
Whichever,
be?
yeah, whichever you want. I think they went with team of four.
Yeah. We're at four there. So there's
Yeah,
your four.
perfect. I
That's
mean,
my four.
listen, that's
Myself, Mike Santana, EY, and Eddie Edwards.
that team itself. That team would be the heart and soul of TNA. So I think I'm in for that one. NXT has the TNA World Title, the Knockouts World Title. After next week, they could potentially have the TNA World Tag Team titles. And at Bound for Glory, they could potentially also take the X Division Championship. Now, this showdown kind of goes past next week on NXT. And if the Hardys lose those tag titles, it changes the entire stake of their match with Team 3D at Bound for Glory because those titles are no longer there. So it's this trickle down effect that's happening. What do you feel about essentially NXT holding all the gold?
Listen, you can only control what you can control. Would I be happy about it? No. But I know what I'm going into at BFG is getting back my international championship. And I've been saying it for months that I'm the one that holds the line for TNA.
Yep.
Yes, did I drop the ball and take my eye off the prize with a little bit of a distraction from El Macias at Victory Road? And then Frankie took advantage of that? Yes. I apologize to the fans that were rooting for me and anything that, but sometimes things happen you can't do anything about. And I promise that won't happen again. And I'm bringing back up with me at Bound for Glory.
We saw Ash by Elegance win the Knockouts World title on an NXT show. Mustafa Ali is now getting his redemption next week on an NXT show. There seems to be these stories that were left open when they finished up their time with NXT and WWE that they're now being revisited. Is there anyone from NXT or even WWE's main roster that you'd have an eye out for, a match that you would want to go after?
In a dream scenario would be my old tag partner and I, Blake, versus the New Day, getting back our tag titles from way back on SmackDown when we had the chance, and that did not happen. That'd be an ultimate story to tell. But for me, my dream match, I've been saying it, would be AJ Styles. Just I've wanted to face former TNA people that have been in WWE and done the opposite, pretty much, where I was in WWE and then went to TNA and they did the opposite.
Yeah.
Where it be, why wouldn't AJ be on the top of that list? He's the phenomenal one. He's AJ Styles. When you talk TNA wrestling, you first think of AJ Styles.
Yeah.
And then you have Samoa Joe's. And it's funny to me, I've said in an interview not too long ago with Kurt Angle, of TNA wrestling. And it's crazy to think he transcended both in WWE and in TNA. And the fact that he says that he thinks his career in TNA was better still blows my mind, because it's just,
Yeah.
I don't see, like, I see that, but I also don't see that, because you always think of both. So I would say if I had a dream match, it would be AJ Styles.
I love that because recently he also said that he is planning to essentially retire at some point in 2026. And with all these farewell tours that we're seeing, retirement tours like with John Cena, maybe AJ Styles goes along something very similar. And we see that crossover with TNA and WWE. And maybe that match does happen. So I, for one, would love to see that match take place.
Appreciate that.
Now, we recently saw you tag with Mr. Anderson coming back
Yeah.
to TNA, a legend in wrestling, but also in TNA. What was that like being able to get in the ring with someone like that?
It was a cool moment, man. It was fun to just feel like a fan at the same time too during the entrance, just because we're chatting beforehand. His kids have never seen him wrestle live in front of with a major company, so to be a part of that and to go out there and to put on the best performance that I could on my end, and hopefully he was happy with it. We've been chatting here and there between that, and he was very happy with it, which I was. It was good to be a part of. But to go out there and he's doing his entrance, he's reaching up for that microphone and nothing's coming down. And I'm just like, you know what? I'll help you out here, brother. Go get a chair and then just kind of have like a nice fun moment for the crowd, and just
Yeah.
it paid off a little bit. And just because he was one of those guys that was different at the time when he just became hot with it. Just the way he carried himself, he was different. And then even another person that came to TNA and he reinvented himself a little bit there and then got into Ace and Eights. And it was just he's one of those talents that just reinvented himself in his own way every time.
I love that. Bound for Glory is up next, and my last question for you was, what was your plan going in? And you broke the news earlier that you'll be going after the International Championship, Frankie Kazarian, get that title back. What are your expectations for Bound for Glory overall? We have so many big matches on the show. I guess specifically the Hardys and Team 3D one last time tables match.
Yeah, it's we're trying to outdo what we did at Slammiversary, and that's beat the North American Gate again, that record. And we're trying to get every butt and every seat and sell out in Lowell, Mass at the Sungen Center on October 12th for Bound for Glory. And you have myself versus Frankie Kazarian. You have Mike Santana versus Trick Williams. You have Leon Slater versus Javon Evans for the TNA X Division Championship, which I'm pretty sure will be one hell of a match. Uh, Second to mine. No, everybody on the card is going to go out there and try to outdo everybody just because we want to make this the biggest show. And
Yeah.
then, like you said, 25 years in the making of one last time tables match, Team 3D versus the Hardys. And it's really cool because I know I'm going to try to sneak out there and try to watch it instead of just watching. I want to watch it live because I was a fan during the 2000 tables match at Madison Square Garden at the Rumble. And here you are 25 years later in a tables match, and it's four guys that I've now shared the ring with and been a part of, and I share a locker room with.
Yeah.
And it's just something really cool, a really cool moment for the fans, but then also really cool as a talent to see.
Steve, I want to thank you for your time today, but also everything you've done for our country and continue to do with pro wrestling. I'll always support a proud voice from New Jersey.
Thank you.
You and Deanna both.
Granted, we live in Orlando, Florida, but we still say that we're from Rutherford, New Jersey, and from New Jersey as a
Yes,
whole.
yes, I love that. Where can everyone follow you and even catch up on Boots to Boots?
So follow me at Steve Maclin on X and also on Instagram. Also for TNA merch, Bulletproof Steve Maclin, shop at tnamerch.com. And then everything Boots to Boots on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, at Boots to Boots Pod. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell us what you want to hear, who you want to hear from on their stories of transitioning and having to come to that crossroads in life of putting one pair of boots on to another pair of boots or shoes, whatever you figuratively have your imagination of those pair of boots going from one career to another.
Steve, again, thank you for your time. TNA Bound for Glory, Sunday, October 12th. Just a little time away, and I think it's going to be one of the biggest shows of the entire year. Thanks again, man, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you for having me.